Hello everyone, and welcome to the very first video of An Outsider's Perspective, a series where I'll be talking about political, social, and economical changes with an objective point of view. Today, I decided to pick the UK, also known as the United Kingdom, since they've been having a lot of controversy about the recent encounter with some right-wing speakers and now Count Dankula. Hashtag free Dankula. First, let's get down to the basics. The UK's had a serious issue with the rape and grooming gangs, according to The Independent. At least 700 women and girls have been abused by these gangs. That is only in Newcastle as well. Lord knows how far they've really gotten, how many victims there really are. What's disturbing is when you read on to find out when this all started. Since at least 2014, when the UK first did a crackdown, so for at least 4 years, since 2014 to 2018, the UK's been aware of grooming gangs in at least one of their cities. Now, there's also been a common factor in at least this article. They have all appeared to have come from a non-white background, mostly Asian/British minority background. Should be noted, this isn't the only time the UK has said quote-unquote Asian men instead of Middle Eastern men, and most importantly, Muslim men. A year before this, from the article, The Independent, has been made, another news source known as The Telegraph has also reported that grooming gangs of Muslim men failed to integrate into British society. Now, this is where you're going to hear that term of Asian men again. The article says, and I quote, "The failure of certain parts of the Asian community to integrate into British society has led the gangs of British, Pakistani, Muslim men targeting white women." Now, what would cause a bunch of Muslim men, the religion of peace, of course, never once have done anything bad before, to rape and target white women? But once again, the Telegraph says they may have been influenced by the cultural conditions of their home country, and a wider failure of British society to integrate these men into their adoptive culture. First off, this is not a British society failing to integrate these rapists and their horrible ideology of Islam into their culture. Islam is the only religion I can think of that has leaders saying such things as it'll be the end of freedom, of democracy, and submission to God, along with behead those who insult Islam. These are not people you should ever want into your country. However, the discussion of Islam will be for another time. For now, we'll get back on track of grooming gangs and rape in the UK. Now back to the article. They say white girls were easy targets, and how the quote-unquote Asian community girls were protected by family honor. These Muslim men are directly attacking white girls and white women in the UK for religious and cultural reasons. They do not care about the UK. They do not care about the UK women. In fact, they want to destroy the UK, and from the looks of it, they are succeeding. So, for the outsider perspective on this section of grooming gangs, the UK needs to wake up. Wake up before it is too late, before they take over completely. However, it might be too late as the government is already going full Big Brother on the UK. So very quickly, before we move on to full-on Big Brother, that according to Breitbart, the Rotherham Council and the police want the powers to ban anti-child rape protests. This is both related to the grooming gangs, because they're grooming 13, 14, 15-year-olds, and the government trying to control the people. People need that the freedom of speech to protest. That is, in my eyes, one of our best rights, not only as an American, but as a simple human being. So now, to the other Big Brother government problems. The Scottish police have tweeted out that they're going to investigate quote-unquote offensive comments on the internet. Take a look at the Twitter of theirs. I'll leave a link to it down in the description below. Now, once again, according to Breitbart and other news outlets, that the UK plans to imprison people who view far-right propaganda up to 15 years. So, the big question is, what does the UK consider to be far-right? Well, if we look towards their arrest history, Lauren Southern, I pronounce that name, a quote-unquote far-right political activist, has been banned and was detained for quote-unquote racism, at least according to The Independent. She ran for the Libertarian Party in Canada. Now, does that make her a libertarian? Not exactly. Just because you run for a certain party does not make you a person of that said party. Yes, obviously you got good with those people, but does not necessarily mean you believe in their ideals. Your actions speak louder than words. So look at what she says and does. I took a little bit of research, and she's just a normal libertarian. There seems to be nothing too extreme, especially when you consider the rape gangs and ISIS members they allow into the UK. Now, there was an iconic duo that was arrested and detained from the UK. According to the Daily Mail, not a source I'd usually trust, but they get right to the point. They say that Martin Sellner and Brittany Pettibone were denied entry into the UK and arrested for 3 days, and other such details. It would appear anyone right of Democrat is considered to be far right or alt right in the UK. So when the UK says they're going to imprison anyone for viewing quote unquote far right propaganda, this can literally mean anything that goes against their agenda. This, my friends, is Big Brother. Watching your comments on the social media, imprisoning anyone they deem as far right. This leads to Count Dankula. So if you somehow live under a rock and found this video, but do not know of the Nazi pug that has a man in jail for hate speech, a Scottish man made a video about a dog doing a Nazi salute. Leave a link to that video in the description below. Now, I have searched for hours to find the exact length of time he's in jail for. However, at least a year according to quote-unquote News Hub. The UK police, the Scottish police, of which I talked about earlier in the video, sees this man as more of a threat than the literal rape gangs in their country. You can find more instances of the UK government ignoring real crime for hate speech on the internet. So now, the final piece, the conclusion from me. From the outsider's perspective, the UK is going full 1984 on their people. Grooming gangs are running rampant through the streets, and the government refuses to acknowledge its Middle Eastern men, the refugees they keep allowing into their own country. The identity of the British people has been lost. They're more worried about hate speech online, Nazi dogs, and journalists from other countries who might be considered racist towards those said grooming gangs who are raping their people. The people in Britain are going to explode. You cannot suppress freedom. The people will rise against the government once they get fed up with this garbage. It may be Molotovs and metal poles used for their rebellion, but as the UK has banned guns, it's the only choice they have. I fear for you, United Kingdom. However, we as Americans, we as a human race, should look at the UK and realize where they went wrong. Learn from it. Never fall into the same trap. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.